Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Morales Jr. and I'm joined by my co-host Seek. And today we got a special guest. We got Cutman, Jacob, Stitch, Duran. How's it going, Jacob?
Hey, been running, bro. Busy as hell, but I ain't complaining. You know,
We've seen that you just got back from Tokyo, right?
yeah. I was in Oklahoma Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and had a 3:00 lobby call after the fights, so no sleep, and had a 4-hour layover in Houston, and no sleep, and get on the plane. It's like 14 hours to Tokyo, and I got there Tuesday. I got there Monday. Did the show Tuesday, and talking to you today on Wednesday. You know, got the show tomorrow.
Yeah. I appreciate you making the time, Stitch. You know,
we roll.
Absolutely. First question we got for you, Stitch, is just basically how you got into boxing. You know, how did you get started as a cutman?
In kickboxing, I was stationed in Thailand in the Air Force, 1974. I was stationed there, and got into that, and got into boxing to kind of amateur boxing to kind of prove my hands, and started training and working with fighters, and kind of learned the aspect of wrapping cuts and working cuts, and from there just grew and made the move to Vegas 28 years ago to do this. You know, so yeah, I went through the whole process slow but sure, and when I moved to Vegas, people didn't know who I was, but I already had a lot of experience through kickboxing because they get cut all the time, right?
Right.
And my first coming out party was with Raul Marquez from Houston, Texas, defended his IBF middleweight title against Keith Mullins. He ended up with 2 cuts here, 2 here, 1 in the nose, and get them in the game, and that was my coming out party, you know. And here I am now, talking to you all these years later.
Yeah, I think that's all right. The rest is history. Got a few comments here. This one's from K-Rod. He's got a yo, flame emojis, and he says, "Hello, Mr. Legendary Stitch Duran." My man. Thanks so much, K-Rod. And you know, talk about your nicknames. You know, I feel like a lot of people know you more by Stitch than your actual name. Can you tell us the backstory for how you got the nickname Stitch?
You know, it's funny. I did. You're my 3rd interview today, right? And but I did Chris Mannix's interview, him and I, and yeah, you know, when he asked me how I got the name Stitch, you know, and I said, you know, it's funny you bring that up because people don't know my real name. You know, I said, and an example, because they're filming a documentary on my life, right? Well, they interviewed Michael B. Jordan after we filmed Creed 3. And one of the clips they sent me, I'm wrapping his hands, and this is my 3rd fight with him, right? Or 3rd movie with him. So I'm wrapping his hands. All of a sudden, I say, "Hey, Michael, do you know my real name?" He said, "Stitch." I said, No. Do you know my real name? He goes, "I don't." And yeah, everybody knows Stitch's real name, and it's Jacob. You know, for those that don't know, but it's been Stitch Duran, you know, for the longest time.
Yeah, I mean that's wild. That's basically they become like your name now.
Yeah, all over the world. Yeah. Stitch. Yeah. I guess it's easy to remember.
Yeah, and you know you're one of the most recognizable cutmen in combat sports, and I say that because everyone can see the success, but rarely do people see the struggles. Could you talk through some of the challenges you faced during your early career?
Oh yeah, there's always a yin and yang to everything, right? And to get to the good side, you got to walk through the bad side sometimes. But when I was learning to be a cutman, until I had my own school of kickboxing at that point, and I went to go see some fights, boxing, and this guy did a good job. And I went in and I asked him, I said, "Hey, trying to learn to be a cutman, can you tell me what you did?" He says, "Fuck you, I'm taking this to my grave, and you got to learn like me." And walked away. And so that was one of the things. But now, it's been a pretty good run, believe it or not, outside of this pendejo that did that. But he encouraged me not to be like him, right? To go out there and teach and take care of these fighters. And so I went back to Oakland with Andre Ward, and he's undefeated. He's defending his title, and my man, what's up? He defended his title, and he comes up to me, and my credibility went up a lot. And this is years later. I've never even, I've done this interview hundreds of times, never thrown his name out. Anyway, him and his son now want to take a picture with me. I said, "All right, I got you guys, man. Vámonos," So yeah, do the right things.
That's awesome, and I like how instead of like being like that person that didn't want to be so secretive, share like all the trade, you took the opposite approach. You're like, I'm gonna not be like
No, exactly. That was so stupid. That was a mentality in boxing during that time that if I show you, you take my job, you know. But as you learn the game, if I take your job, it's probably because I'm a little better than you, And
Mhm.
so that's what they were scared of, But now, I mean, I'm at the weigh-in today, and Cutman Sergio Estrada, that's working with Ceniza tomorrow night, comes and asks me about a seminar. They called me in Colombia about doing a seminar and how do I handle it? So I educate him on that, So education, bro.
There you go.
Yep.
Comment here from Does Boxing says saludos Stitch.
¿Qué pasó, bro?
Saludos Does Boxing homie Jerry.
Saludos, Jerry.
So Jerry.
And Stitch, we've mentioned kind of some of the places you've traveled recently to work. Can you let us know who were the boxers you were working their corners?
Oh, recently I gotta look at it. Well, I gotta go way back and let's see. I was Tuesday. I was in Tokyo. Saturday I did a show in Oklahoma. The week before I was in Toledo, Ohio. The week before I got to look at my calendar to see what's back there, but I'll tell you what's going forward. So I got a show tonight on ESPN, the top ranked shows, and then Sunday I go to San Diego or to Dallas to work with Nate Diaz against Jake Paul, and then the week after I have a show in Phoenix, and week after I got a show in Tulsa. So not bad, bro. I got shit booked all the way till September the 22nd.
Man, yeah, not bad at all.
Oh, it's a blessing, man. I'll be the first to tell you.
And how does that process normally work, Stitch? Do they reach out to you, or do you just kind of get assigned to the fighters?
Well, it's both actually. Top Rank, when I live like 20 minutes from the MGM here in Las Vegas, and when COVID kicked in, Top Rank were gonna do 16 shows in the bubble. So they called me and Mike Basil that to see if we'd be interested in being the house cutman. And of course, 16 fights and 2 fights a week, ESPN fights. Why not? The money was good, and so we. While he stayed there for 6 weeks, he couldn't leave the 12th floor. He was on lockdown, bro. Because he lives in San Mateo. I would get there Wednesday, get tested, had to lock down in my room till it's time to eat or the weigh-ins, and then I would do 2 shows and go home Sunday, and then go back again Wednesday. Mike Basil stayed the whole 6 weeks on lockdown. So anyway, we did that with Top Rank, which because of the COVID, they were very limited on who amount of people they could have, no audience and all that. So we came on board, and it worked out great. That Top Rank says, you know what, man, it makes a lot of sense. We got somebody here to take care of the ones that don't have Cutman or don't know how to wrap hands, and they're using top of the line people. So I got that show with them, and they're real good. So been busy, man. Thank God.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And Stitch, now I want to talk about cuts. George Kambosos made you work recently because he got cut in his fight. But what's the worst cut you've had to deal with in your career?
There's the worst cut location. I'll tell you that because it's a bitch. Is when you let that big vein you got right here.
Yeah.
When you cut that vein is bigger than all the other ones around the area. So when you pop that sucker, bro, you better pray. Jay Haran fought Jonathan Goulet, but this was, I think, the WEC years ago. And he's so proud of it because I tell people that was the bloodiest fight I ever worked. This thing just kept squirting, and they both had blood from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. And so much blood it made me nauseated, right? And so that was the bloodiest. That mat now is in Randy Couture's gym, But no, there's been a lot of them, bro. And I look and I wonder, I said, wow, how did I do that? And wow, he's not bleeding. And wow, So that's always a real good feeling.
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta keep them busy. You gotta keep them busy.
yeah, and it's nice, after these fights and the guys come and thank you and tell you, man, I love you, thanks. That's what this whole thing's about, bro.
100%. You got a question here for Dustin Boxing. Going back to when you were working the Top Rank bubble, he says, "How was that experience being behind closed doors?"
Yeah, I told you it was. I did an interview. I did interviews. I called it the boxing version of Shawshank Redemption.
Damn, that huh?
Yeah, bro. I tell you, it was we were on lockdown, man. The only time I saw Basil, the other Cutman, and the people in the fight were during the fights or the weigh-ins, But once I was done, back to your room, and we did the shows at the convention center of the MGM. So we were away with everybody, but everywhere we went, from the 12th floor to the convention center, we had people with us that kept us there in check. One father, because he was a trainer father for this guy, went downstairs to gamble. They didn't let him come back up, So, yeah, lockdown, bro.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then a question here from K-Rod. It says, Stitch, what's the hardest thing in cuts in boxing when it's a bloody fight? Is it mental issue to help calm a fighter before applying the right medicine practices to heal certain damages?
All the above at the same time, and actually that's a good quiz with the mental issues. So what I always do is I always talk to the fighter and the trainers one-on-one before we go out, and you have kind of a not a semi plan. You have a plan on what to do, but even with the fighter, and this comes from Anderson Silva when he fought Lyoto Machida. No, he fought Rashad Evans. Lyoto Machida fought Rashad Evans. I take that back. And
Is that when he kicked him in the face?
I can't remember that, but I remember that Lyoto won the world title, right?
Yeah,
So
he beat him right away. It was an early fight, right? It was early stoppage.
I don't remember those. Too many fights, bro. But I remember moments, right? So I go in the dressing room after the fights and to congratulate him. If you remember, his father's very Japanese, very shogunist, very proud. And I go in there and congratulate him. And in front of his father, he says, "Stitch, in the ring, you are my father." And the father just agreed on that. So we're talking about the mental game that's so important. I always talk to him before that. And you give that impression on him because, hey, bro, they're modern day gladiators, but they're all babies deep inside, man. And my job is to take care of the baby. Vladimir Klitschko, when he fought Anthony Joshua, when he lost his title to him at Wembley Stadium, 90,000 crazy people. I didn't see Vladimir and Vitaly till the day of the weigh-ins because my daughter Carla had gotten married in the island of Crete. So I got there Thursday night. But I'm talking to Vladimir and Vitaly, and finally I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, "Look, don't worry about nothing tomorrow. I'm gonna take care of you like you're my son." So that's where that. So I'm putting the Vaseline on Vladimir in front of all these crazy people. Michael Buffer is going to do the announcements, and he's about this far away from each other like this, and he says, "You could call me son." No, that meant a lot because I knew I got to him the night before, and I'm sure he got some rest in one of the best fights he ever had. So he calls me after, "Daddy," But then more important is I see him like 3 months later in Germany, and I said, "Vladimir, that moment, why?" He says, "Stitch," he goes, "there's very, very few people I trust in my life. You are one of them."
Wow.
Yeah. Vitaly is his brother on the last fight. He puts his hand on my shoulder, same thing, just by nature, right? And he says, "Stitch, you've been with us many, many years. You are like family. I love you. You are always welcome to my house, man." So that's the kind of relationship that I have with these guys. I'm going to let you guys listen to some heavy duty stuff. When I did the movie Creed 3, Michael B. Jordan used me as an advisor, make sure the shit was done right. He asked about who should give away the WBC belt. So I gave the reference of Jose Suleiman, and he passed, and his son Mauricio. And so I'm working the Ugas and Spence fight in Dallas, and Mauricio was there, and I let him know about how we represented the belt at the highest level. And we both work with the Klitschkos. So he says, "Hey man, let's take a picture and send it to the Klitschkos. They're fighting Russia right in the middle." Vitaly is the mayor of Kiev. Show you how deep shit that is. So it's the President Zelensky, Vitaly, Vladimir is the face of the company. So heavy duty, bro. They're right in there. And so he sent him a picture. Suleiman sent Vladimir a picture. I'm gonna let you listen to what Vladimir sent me, man. It means so much. Let me see. Here we go.
My two-third man, specialist Stitch, with whom I spent so much time talking, and he actually saved my career on a lot of different stages. If Stitch wouldn't be in my corner, I would not make the record of 12 years being a champion. So That's so great to see you both. And Stitch is the man.
It's badass.
That's impactful.
It brought tears to my eyes when I heard it, because I think he's right in the middle of war, and for that moment I took him away from that war into the wars that he used to be in, and that was me protecting him. He's protecting his country, and he's responding that I was protecting him.
That's love, brother.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And I got so many stories at this with so many fighters. Get a kiss and man, I love you and so and this and that. So it's a mind blowing experience, man. I'm still that little Chicano that grew up as a farm worker, right? And I said, fuck, look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So everything's possible, man. Si se puede.
Sí se puede. Así es.
I have a question for Cutman's point.
Go ahead.
Do you remember Pac-Man Marquez 4?
Who?
Pacquiao versus Marquez number 4. Do you remember the fourth fight when Marquez knocks him out with that overhand?
Oh, at the MGM.
Yeah, there's a round. I think one of the guys in the corner, I think it was a Cutman, he just threw a bunch of Vaseline in his forehead. What was that all about?
I don't remember that, but that's a good point, because there's so many guys that want to be a Cutman, and they're not Cutman, and it shows. I mean, horrible, and that's why it's important, Top Rank to bring in professional people like me and Basil, because we do the things properly through experience. Bro, there's so many guys that why did Vaseline out. I saw this one guy one time looked like dental floss. He rolled it up, put it inside a cut, and then all of a sudden I don't know what the hell that was.
He was trying to stitch him up then and there, huh?
No, it was like dental floss. I don't know. I said, I'm like this, and I study corners all the time, man, and there's so many guys that make mistakes, and here's a little point that I always tell people is I tell these young fighters, I said, look, when you're looking for a cut man, if he puts a swab here or he puts it here and he has no gloves, get another cut man. Ask him the adrenaline chloride 1000, the medication we use for the cuts. Ask them what the function is. If they say it's a coagulant, get another cut man, because that medication we use on there, the adrenaline chloride 1000, is a vessel constrictor. So you put it on there and it closes up the blood vessels. Coagulation is where it makes a clot and it stops bleeding. But once you get hit, it takes that clot with it, and the probability of bleeding again is high. So yeah. So education, bro, that's what I'm bringing to the table. You guys just got educated.
Yeah,
man, learned so much. Learned so much.
Here's your assignment. So next time you guys go to the fight, to whoever the company, hey man, shit, how's so and so, and hey, what's that medication do? What's the adrenaline do? If he says it's coagulant, think about me.
You go.
Will do.
Yeah. But,
then stitches.
Well, real quick, because none of us have to be certified, bro, to be called bros. And it's a shame.
Oh shit! I didn't know
that.
Yeah, we have our buddy, the FD Cutman. He's a fire department employee, and he's also the Cutman on his own. He does pretty good work.
Who's that?
The fire department. That's his name on Instagram. The FD, the fire department.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Cool.
Alex.
Yeah, I don't know if you were part of the. Actually, no, you were Stitch. That's where I met you. But the May card in Stockton, the Top Rank was doing.
Yeah,
he was working the corner for Joshawn James, who fought Javier Martinez.
I gotta see in my face, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you see him. You'll be like, yeah, I saw him.
Yeah.
Stitch, what would we say has been kind of like your proudest moment as a cut man? Like, which fight are you most proud of? Like your work.
Oh, you gotta line them up, man. It's just, there's so many big ones and so many important ones, and man, I can't pick one out, man. It's just too many. You're talking about guys. It's like saying I like you, maybe more than Sanchez here. Chale. Too many of them, bro. Tough one to answer. Tough one.
How did Japan treat you out there, man? They treat you good out there in Japan?
Who's that? Oh yeah, Japan is the best. I've been there 15 times, maybe 20. I've been there for K1 kickboxing. I've been there for Rising, Pride, used to be Pride, and I've been there for fun. I was there last month. So, but and I did a New Year's Eve show in Japan also with Kazuto Ayoka. And in Japan for New Year's, they have 3 major events. They got one for K1, one for Pride, MMA, and then one for boxing. And the way I understand it is 80% of the people that are watching TV that night are tuned into one of those 3. So it's real big, you know. And hey, streets on, and they stop me in the streets there, bro. You know,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Comment here from K-Rod says, Stitch, I wish you were in the $1 Million Baby movie. That would have been iconic. There needs to be more boxing movies to talk about the greatest Cutman in the sport.
Oh, man, thanks. And, you know, when they were filming $1 Million Baby, I can't remember what movie I was filming, but they were in a studio not far away. I mean, like a block away. And I'm thinking, man, I'm going to go over there and see if they recognize me, maybe give me a job or something like that. But I said, no, man, that's being too gacho. That's not my nature, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were filming it there. And, yeah.
From one studio to the other.
What's that?
Jumping from one studio to the other.
Yeah, okay, got you. Hey, man, I'm seeing that. Hey, but to that point is I did a show in New York, and Mark Krieger's fiance, and he commentated for ESPN. She goes, man, she's a big fan of yours. She'd like to meet you and all that. So I met her, and they're on the possibility. They're looking into stories of Cutman, and I sat with her and the producer, and you know, so I don't know. You know, people, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Absolutely.
I want Edward James Olmos to play me.
I'll be fire. And then Mark has a question here. He says that what's the best colored duct tape manufacturer to use to wrap around boxing gloves?
The best color?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, boxing normally uses the red and the blue. That's it. One I've never studied. I don't know.
All right, and then K-Rod also learning with us here. He says, that's amazing. I never knew the science behind that. It makes more sense now why certain fighters get cut more easily if they don't have a good cut man in their corner.
Yeah, hey, man. You know, I think people, you know, sometimes I look at them, and some of these are world championship fights. And I look at it and I think, gee, why? People don't know. And you know, basically what we are is we're insurance policies. And like I tell people, you know, if you're driving a Ferrari and you're paying for Volkswagen insurance, you're probably not going to do too good, you know? So it's an investment, right?
Okay.
It's to bring in a cut man, and if shit happens, then I'm there to make sure that you win the fight. And I've made a lot of money for a lot of guys. So yeah, it's education, man. It's number one. You know,
Sir.
You guys are learning more than Cutman that are out there right now.
We are, yeah. And we actually got a Cutman in the comments. We got Gabe Holman, aka Cutman Scar. Says I just got in on the live. I'm interested to know which cut in boxing was Stitch's toughest one, if you guys didn't already ask.
Yeah, you know, we talked about that big vein. You know, once you get that one to stop it, it takes a whole lot. And the worst, the ones that make a Cutman look bad are these right here, because you can't stop them from bleeding because there's a lot of cartilage, so you really can't close up the blood vessels, right? And that's that makes a Cutman look bad. You know?
And then a Cutman Scar also is interested to hear your best Raphael Garcia story.
You know, good question. Nobody's ever asked it. I'm gonna tell you, I just saw Rafa's. In fact, I'm working with Junior tomorrow night with Andres Cortez, and but Rafa's. Floyd Mayweather was having problems with his hands, so he was going through guys wrapping his hands. And I walk into the gym one day with a friend of mine on Saturday, and this guy is wrapping Floyd's hands. And this is early in his career, wrapping Floyd's hands, and James Prince, his manager, is there. And you know, I'm looking at my buddy, and because I've wrapped thousands of hands, bro, I'm looking at man, it's too tight. Floyd's going like this, and you know, this and that, and finally he wraps both hands, and James Prince and Floyd walk into the dressing room, and a minute later they're coming out and cutting them off. At that point, I could have said, "Hey, Floyd, I'll wrap your hands," you know. But out of respect to that cut man, I didn't say nothing. But anyway, going fast forward, Rafa was the next one to do that, and he got the assignment, and I'm glad he did, man, because he, you know, that was a blessing for him. And I just saw Floyd at the gym right before I came to talk to you, you know, and I was telling him how proud I was of him, and you know what he's doing, and And I said, man, I remember when you first got out of the Olympics, when you moved to Vegas, and your uncle Roger was training you. You know, so I've known him ever since he's been to Vegas, and you know, it's been since those Olympics.
Back in the Pretty Boy days, Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah, yeah. And a good kid, man. You know, everything you see in public is one thing, but when you peel that onion away, fucking dynamite kid, man.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always constantly investing in the next generation of boxing talent. You know?
There's a young kid. Good point. There's a young kid. I can't remember. I don't know his name. I see him in the gym all the time. He's 15 years old now.
Is that Martin Brown?
That's from Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, but he's a young kid. Floyd's working with him. I walk in the gym. Hey, Stick, what's up? He's up in the corner. Hey, I go in. That's when I talk to him and all that. But he's helping this young kid out, and because he said Floyd says this kid's going to be a world champion. And Floyd's helping him on some stuff that was phenomenal. But I think, you know, this kid he's privileged to be working there. You know, so he gives back.
Absolutely. And then Mark actually clarifies the question. He says just want to know the best brand of duct tape. So not the color, just the best brand in your opinion.
Man, I just get regular duct tape, you know, $1.99 a roll, you know. You know, as long as it sticks, man.
What is the nearest Big Five?
Yeah. Home Depot. You know, I get my stuff at Home Depot. You know, but yeah. So duct tape for the most part.
Absolutely. Sig, you want to jump in and ask a question?
It was the 12th one, right?
Yeah, we're on 12 now.
Gotcha. Next, it would be who's your? Well, we all have that special fighter growing up. Mine is Canelo, and every boxer or fan has a different boxer growing up. Who was your boxer growing up? Your favorite boxer growing up?
Well, you know, Roberto Duran for sure, bro. You know, he Duran with Duran, right? But the one I always wanted to meet was Alexis Arguello, and I never did. You know, but Roberto Duran, there was fights at the Mandalay Bay. Constance Zhu fought Zab Judah, and I'm walking into the arena with my friends, and Roberto is coming out of the restroom, and he comes up to me, man, shakes my hand, and says, "Hey, man, you know, in Spanish, you know, me da mucho gusto que andas aquí representando la raza. You know, I'm very proud that you're here representing the race and all that." And, you know, we shake hands and all that. He leaves, and my buddy said, "That's Roberto Duran," you know. And so yeah, you know, so but yeah, Alexis Arguello, he was a classic kid all the way. Plus his style of fighting was wish I would have met him.
Cool. That's good to know.
Absolutely. And then K-Ross says Carmel Matan is a monster, and that Joseph Brown kid is good too. That trains MMA and boxing is 16 years old. Yeah, so it's actually Joseph Brown. Martin Brown was the father that I was thinking about, but Joseph Brown was probably the kid at the Mayweather gym.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't want to say that's him if that's not him, you know. But,
yeah, exactly.
but I know that Floyd's working. I see the kid all the time. I always do my gym runs. You know, it's I call it barbershop talk boxing style. You know, so maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks for sure. I'll go make a gym run. And after the weigh-ins, I did 2 interviews, and then I hit the gym before I came and talked to you.
And then
went to Roberto's Tacos. I got me some carne asada, nachos. See, I got it right here. You know, I think I'm kidding.
Can't beat that. Ooh.
Yeah.
With some guacamole, bomb.
Yeah, got them all, man.
And now, flash forward to present day, Stitch. Who do you consider to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter today?
I mean, I don't even examine those things, but I do tell you is I really like Devin Haney and I like Shakur, and I work with Shakur, right? And I see Shakur fight. It's like I couldn't. He's like Tyson Fury. You know, Tyson Fury don't look like he could fight, but he could fight. But Shakur, I work in these fights, and like Andre Ward, same thing with Andre. Andre didn't look like a fighter. Shit, if I saw him on the bar, I'd pick a fight with him, right? But their style was perfect in what they do, and Shakur and Devin Haney are up there, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got something to help with that question. Who's the fighter that you work with that gets touched the least?
Shakur. Yeah. This kid is. But I remember he got dropped by, was it Oscar Valdez? Somebody, and he comes up and just like Andre Ward when he got dropped with Kovalov, they both came and says, you know, now they know I can take a shot. And when you get that in your mind, they were talking about the mental issues earlier. You put that in your mind, that's a pretty strong feeling.
Yep.
Sir, you've been in 10 films so far in your career. Most notable have been your appearances in the Creed film trilogy. How did those opportunities come to be, and what is your relationship with Michael B. Jordan?
Oh, you didn't hear the story. Huh? That's right. You were driving. Huh?
Yeah, I was. You know,
Yeah.
I was.
No, that's good. 7 movies. Well, 7, 8, yeah, 7, 8, 9. 2 independents that I never count, but 7 good ones, right? And yeah, my relationship with Michael B. Jordan is tremendous, bro. I spent 6 weeks with him. But this last one was 8 weeks. 6 weeks in Philadelphia for the first one, 6 weeks in and just him and I wrapping his hands, and so he knows that I bring authenticity. And I was telling him in the second movie, I'm wrapping his hands, just him and I, and how proud I was of him and Ryan Coogler, who wrote and directed that, and Black Panther, and young guy from Oakland, and Tessa Thompson, and Steve Cappell that was directing Creed 2. Michael looks at me and says, Stitch, I'm directing Creed 3, and you're with me as long as you want. I said, my man. So yeah, good kid, bro. No ego, nothing like that. I remember we shot Creed 2 in Philadelphia. There's a university there of girls. I don't even know the name of it. So we're in the big parking lot and they're chained off and all that. And all these girls are outside the gate. And he went over there and took pictures of everyone.
Wow.
That kind of guy.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Awesome. And then a question from Does Boxing is probably gonna be tough to answer, but he says, out of all the fights you've worked, which would you say was your favorite?
Ooh, yeah, you're right, man. Too many fights, brothers.
Yeah.
They jump in. I don't get too excited, but there's been fights where
Yeah.
It's nowadays. It's not so much about the fights anymore. It's about the characters that I'm working with. That's the whole story, is the relationship. Like Nate Diaz, I'm working with him with Jake Paul, right? I was at Stockton last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and he knows I'm there to take care of him because I worked all his fights and his brother's fights when I was with the UFC, and they were from the same area, the 209, Chicanos, and we're going to Dallas, but there's not a casa, so it makes sense. Plus, he gets cut, so yeah, it's more not so much. But I've been a lot of great fights. I'm trying to think which ones are great, just too many. But I tell you, the most perfect fight I ever worked was Vladimir Klitschko fought Samuel Peter, and Emmanuel Stewart and myself and Vitalia, the 3 work in the corner. Well, Vladimir gets dropped, I think 2-3 times he gets dropped by Samuel Peter. But I'm talking about a perfect corner. Emmanuel Stewart, which was a master of what he did, kept his composure and instructed Vladimir to do the things he went. He went out there and beat Samuel Peter. Never seen that done before. I will add now you're talking about a perfect fight. I worked with Robesi Ramirez in Tokyo just the other night, and his coach Salas, and I told both of them after the fight, I have never, in all the hundreds of fights I've done, probably thousands of fights, I have never seen a team where Salas was throwing instructions, and then one they made comment because Japan, the people are very quiet, so you could hear Salas is giving them the instructions, and Robesi is following them to the T, and they ended up with the 5th round knockout. And tremendous. I've never seen that before. That's teamwork, he said.
Absolutely. And then a question here from Cutman Scar says, do you still use Adrenaline 1 to 1000 or just Quick Aid?
I use them both, and those are the only 2 that I use. Good question. As you get a big cut, let's say, you clean it out. I always pinch the cut, and when you do that, the little blood that's in the vessels, all right, you squeeze it out of there. So once you put the adrenaline on the vessels, it soaks it into that and it closes them up. So I'll do that first, and then if it's a real back cut, then I'll apply the Quick Aid after I do that. So it absorbs into the vessels and it closes them up. But if some are still leaking, then that Quick Aid will it dehydrates it. So good question, but yeah.
Man, salute to Scar, man. You know what I'm talking about. Salute to Scar.
It's got nothing that won't come after I read K-Rod's kind of feedback here. There's most fighters that come from.
I do take payments through Venmo.
There you go.
Yeah, no. You know what? That's my. I'm not gonna be like that guy. That told me to F off. I'm gonna teach people how to take care of fighters and the fans. I think it's important for you guys to know what goes on behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
You understand it more as you see the progress. And you see the work of Cutman, and like the end swell. Good point. The end swell is used to minimize swelling. You're not gonna. The old days, the old theory was you get it, you move it away, right, and then you wouldn't have swelling. But what you do, you move it into tissue that's not damaged, so it goes in there, and now it comes right back. So now from here, it's here, now it's here, and that's so the thing is with the swelling is cold direct pressure, you know. So I created one that's curved, and we use that. But there's a lot of myths to that. You'll see guys, it's like they're putting makeup on the guy, you know. And that's just no benefit to that.
That's why they look like stars in the post-fight interviews, huh?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, another question here from Cutman Scar says, "What's the best method to handle a broken nose?" I heard many methods. I'd like to know yours.
Yeah, mine is to pray. yeah, you know, that's a good, very good question, and but it's very, very hard because that's what you did. You ripped all the vessels that are inside the nose, and you know, if you could control it and give it some breathing, you're doing okay. But expect it to continue to bleed. You know, yeah, great. You know, but that's another good point because guys ask me. You'll see. I got my baker. I'm gonna use this as a thing. Guys will put in there. They'll do this inside the nose. This shit don't make sense. How would you have to have something like this in your nose? So what you do is you put it in there and then you press right here and you keep it. Blood coagulates itself. So you got to understand the mechanics. How many times you get cut and you put your finger and pressure on it, right? A minute later, you're going to go and stop bleeding because blood coagulates itself. So you have to understand the mechanics that go with the process. The adrenaline chloride will close them up if it's still bleeding. Cold direct pressure. Plus that helps closing up the blood vessels.
Oh, man. That's good to know.
Yeah. Very simple, huh?
Post that Venmo, that Zelle, man. Everybody's, send your donations.
yeah.
Or do this. Like, don't. Yeah, we could use it too. Does Boxing says you start a course, pass on that great knowledge you've earned in all your years to protect fighters for generations to come. Yeah, you could be a teacher.
Yeah, I am a teacher. I do it in my own way, and I'm in Japan, and Japanese are asking me questions. Filipinos guys from Indonesia asking me, Steve, take a picture and this and that and sushi. I said, look, man, here's my card. Call me if you got any questions, and I'll answer if I can. That's what I do.
What do you like to do outside of boxing? What are some of your interests and hobbies?
This. I ain't got time to do much, bro. I'm telling you, But when I'm not doing boxing, I spend all my time with my family. I don't party, and those days are done, And but yeah, spend time with my family and make the best out of it. And when if I do fights in the States, I'll leave Thursday. Be in time for the weigh-in Friday and do the show Saturday. Then I'm home Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if not, then yeah. So not too much.
Good man, Stitch.
What is the best piece of advice you will give to someone who's thinking about being a cutman, becoming a cutman?
Don't be afraid of blood.
Yeah. Don't do that. Number one lesson for any cutman or any person working with these fighters is keeping your composure. And understand the mechanics of cuts, where they are, what kind of vessels they are. Taking aspirin, ibuprofen and all that. Don't do that. That thins out the blood and makes it difficult to, you just, I get doctors, paramedics, firemen, not to put you guy. I get all these nurses, regular people. Everybody wants to be a cut man. And I tell them, I said, look, you want to be a cut man, here's what you got to do. You got to spend hours and days and weeks and months and years in the gym working with these fighters, being with these fighters, understanding the mental game. You're wrapping hands for free at that time, getting they're getting confidence in you, and you probably start working carrying the bucket, and you work on swallowing, and you go from there. But it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well said. And then Jerry with a comment here says, "What time away from boxing? Stitches on every card." Laughing emojis.
I know this guy asked me today when I was at the weigh-ins, "Hey man, is there two of you?" Yeah, I'm telling you, man. So it blows my mind,
They're clones.
How do you get all that energy to not stop, man? Event
that's a good question because Mike Basil, the other cut man, I communicate with him. I say, you know what, man, you got to be a veteran in traveling, because you, especially doing internationals, you know, you got to know times and security and everything that has to be involved in that, and let it run smooth. Boom, boom, boom. You gotta, yeah. It's a journey, but yeah, I tell you, it's not for the rookies, man. That's for sure. You know, and I tell you, Thursday I was in Oklahoma, did the fight Saturday. You know, Sunday I'm on my way to Tokyo. Get there Monday, do the fight Tuesday. I'm back yesterday, and here I am talking to you guys. And tomorrow I work a fight, and Sunday I take off again. And hey, man, you know, and I was talking to Chris Mannix when we finished the interview, and I said, you know, I always tell people if flying and restaurant food is the worst that could happen to me, shit, I'm doing all right, man. You know,
Nice.
right? But I got hamburgers up to here, bro. Oh fuck! I don't give me no hamburgers.
I just met Chris Mannix on over here in LA at an event, Thunder Studios. He's a pretty cool guy. I met him, and I met a super bad too. She was pretty cool too.
Who was that?
Siniesa Estrada.
Oh yeah,
Anissa Estrada.
yeah. She's fighting tomorrow, and like I said, Sasuke Estrada is her cut man, and he was asking me about doing seminars in Colombia, right? But yeah, the girl could fight, so it's good. It's good to see girls headlining the main event. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. All right, Stitch. Final question for you. What's your message you want to send to your family and supporters watching the interview?
Hey man, just follow your dreams, bro. Shit happens, you know. Don't give up. And you know, I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he has his PhD in education, so he retired as a president of Merced College and all that. But we're still Chicanos, right? Grew up as farm workers and migrant camp and all that, and we talked about our success where we're at now, because you know he's met with the president and met with the governor, and so he's at the high level in education, right? And I said, you know, I'm realizing where you're at and where I'm at, that it's the same route to get to where you have to go to get to the top. Same route you guys are on, right? You're gonna have negatives, you're gonna have positives. You know, you're gonna be thinking as you go all the way. If you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. All those elements come to play to be successful. And like I say, for me, it's never been about the money. It's about saying, you know what, I'm a proud Chicano, and si se puede. You know, so follow your dreams, man, because they do happen. They do come true.
Yeah, thank you, Stitch. I mean, the goal is for everyone to know everything that has to do with the whole boxing universe, man. Thank you for your time. You really are schooling everyone who's watching.
Yeah, no, 100%. I didn't send you guys the documentary, did I? Boxer's Nightmare?
Mm-mm.
No.
All right, before we go, you got to give me a minute. So, just to blow your mind, man. So, one of you guys send me your email, and I'm going to send you this video. 23 years ago, I did an interview on wanting to do videos. And videos, wrapping hands, working cuts. That's always been my mission, right? And because, like I say, I'm a martial artist, and our job is to teach, right? And so this young kid, John Barnhouse, had just graduated from the American Film Institute, and he got a hold of me and says, "Hey, man, I'll be glad to help you out, no charge." So, shit, I knew nothing, bro. Anyway, we ended up getting so many interviews that we put a documentary together called Boxer's Nightmare, and it deals with all the shit fighters go through, bro. So we interviewed Mike Tyson a week before he got his tattoo. Mike gave me some heavy duty stuff, bro. Mike Tyson, Emmanuel Stewart, Fernando Vargas when he was going to fight Trinidad. We had Joe Cortez, Mills Lane, Richard Steele, Doc Brodus that trained George Foreman, Joe Lewis's daughter, Dr. Homansky, Dr. Goodman, Rolando Ariano, Fernando's manager that dealt with taxes and unionizing associations. Bro, I got everything on the table. Anyway, I never did nothing with it. So John OD'd about 4 months ago. He moved to Denver, and I hadn't seen him in years. And his brother called and said, "Hey, man, the devil, he finally got it." So I looked at this film as a tribute to him, and I'm thinking, bro, this is so valuable right now, because not of the money making, of the education. We dealt everything with dementia pugilistica, to conditioning, to diets, to dehydration, to contracts, to associations. We discussed everything on this platform here, and I never did nothing with it. So as a tribute to John, I'm talking to some people now. I want to get now current interviews and base them on what was happening then. All these Hall of Famers, how can you beat that, right? So
absolutely.
But now the problems and issues that were happening in boxing that are still happening now are also helping in MMA. So I wanna interview guys, and of course, Nate Diaz will be one of them, right?
Absolutely.
So that's my project right now. Finishing up my documentary that they're doing on me based on the book From the Fields to the Garden. But this one here, so when do you guys send me your email? I'll send you the documentary, and then you guys look at it. It's an hour and 8 minutes. So the first 13 seconds are dead time. All right. And this is the raw one. So the first 13 seconds are dead. And then at the end of the film, when it says the end, wait a little bit, because Mike Tyson and I finish up the film. I'll make you laugh. It's a big time.
Wow.
So in doing so, like I've done interviews like this kid from the UK. We talked about it, and I sent him the video as I'm doing you guys. So he cleaned it up for me. Those 13 seconds, he took them out. I misspelled Emmanuel Stewart's last name. He fixed that. That there was a gap between the end and me and Mike Tyson. He fixed that. So, and then he made it from 540 to, I guess, 4K. So he made it, so he did it for free. Just to help. So there's an underground movement, bro. We're gonna make something happen. And so I'll send it to you guys, and please listen. Let's do this chat again, based on what you guys learned from Boxer's Nightmare.
Yep.
We love to.
You get produced with Michael B. Jordan. It's gonna be a wrap right there.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm telling you. But and the thing about me is I don't ask people for shit, man. I just can't kiss nobody's ass. That's not my nature, right? If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen organically. It's gonna happen because people wanna get involved, and it's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen. I know it is. Just that there's, like I say, I always wait for and that's the thing you guys do. You wait for the right time to take that next step. You wait for that right time to open that door to go to the next one. It all comes in time, but it's gonna happen. I know, and it's gonna, not for the money. Never about the money. It's about knowledge, man, and educating the people. But yeah, send me your email, man. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
The little Chicano, Raul Alvarez, he was like 15 years old. Shit, he's a man now. He has kids and everything. And so we use him. Show you how good John Barnhouse was, the director, is he used Raul. So let's say we went to ESPN and you got commercials. Well, Raul running and then going into the next chapter, you could always take that out and continue. But he did that. He was that good. But check it out, man. And then let's set up another one of these, and then we'll talk about it.
Definitely.
Man, you're gonna say, damn, Mills Lane, bro. Look at Emmanuel Stewart died, Hall of Famer. Mills Lane has died, Hall of Famer. Chuck Bodak passed away, Hall of Famer. Got it in, and yeah, blew my mind. It's a gold mine. It's a gold mine of knowledge that nobody has ever had. And I made the mistake then in not knowing anything about videos. I try to go to the wrong people, which are the HBOs, the Showtime, the Bob Arums, the Top Ranks, and that's not, and I didn't know how to go about it. So we just shelved it, and John passed away, and I pulled it out and took all the dust off and looked at it, and I'm thinking, wow, that blew me away. And my mission has always been to fight for the underdog. That's why the UFC let me go. I spoke out about unfair practices, but so this would just define my journey. And I look at it and I think, fuck, man, I've always been doing this. It's always, but my parents were like that. As farm workers, we're with the Cesar Chavez movement. And if you notice my outfit, are you guys gonna watch the Nate Diaz fight?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're gonna see my United Farm Worker patch on my arm, on my shoulder, and then Planada, my little town that when I left the migrant camp, Planada was like 1,500 people. Well, I got them on my collar as the camera shined on me working on the fighter. It says Planada. That's my little hometown. So never forget where you come from. That's rule number one.
Absolutely.
Agreed. And everybody give Stitch a follow. It's on Instagram at Stitch Duran. And then also Jerry wants to know what's your Venmo because he wants to buy you around.
Yeah, hey, I don't drink, bro. I do what I don't, but next time we'll get together and we'll burn one or something.
Hey, you can pass it on, man. No, I'm playing with you.
Yeah. But send it
Things like para me. Over here.
Send it to these vatos. Yeah.
Hey, man.
I appreciate it. That's the thing is it's not the material things, it's the thoughts. For him to have listened to your show, and obviously he likes what he's hearing and willing to buy me a drink. You know,
Yeah.
that alone says it all. See, those are the moments. These are the things. Not so fuck. I've done tons of world title fights. Those, you know, those are second nature now. It's things like this that mean a lot to me.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Stitch. It was a pleasure, you know, kind of talking some boxing with you, and we'll do it again once we get to see that documentary.
We gotta watch that. We gotta watch that, man.
Yeah, check it out, and you guys let me know like right away what you think about it, and it's cool because I have Zoom, but StreamYard I always had a hard time, so I tried to log on to StreamYard and shit. My wife's gone. She went. I got home yesterday, and she went to Mexico City yesterday with my sister for a Catholic convention and all that. I called her right now in Mexico City. I said, honey, how do I get on StreamYard? You know, directed me, man. So good talking to you guys, bro. You know, stay healthy and, you know, si se puede.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
All right.
it.
Thanks, Stitch. Bye.
All right, goodbye.